Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle Haas. And in this video, we're taking a look at Go Collect's hottest comics for the week of April 21st. Now, for those who don't know, Go Collect puts out a bi-weekly article that switches between hottest comics and trending comics. It's Monday. You know what that means. We got to take a look at the list. But before I get into the books, if you guys could drop me a like or a comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, help support the channel, doing those things, I'd appreciate it. But let us get into this article here today. Of course, this article is written by Matt Tech. I will put a link in the description in case you want to do further reading, but I will break it down for you, of course. And in the number 5 slot, we have a very, very big book. This one is Amazing Spider-Man number 101, up 34 spots, now sitting in the 31st slot. And what is the significance of this? Well, of course, you guys know this is the first appearance of the character known as Morbius, a book that came out in 1971, written by Stan Lee and Roy Thomas. Now, it was just the other week that we got the release of the Morbius film, and the critics and the fan responses to that film weren't so positive overall. But that didn't stop this book from moving in the market. Now, when I say moving in the market, we're talking about volume of sales here. We're not necessarily talking about all new record high prices, because one of the funny things about this book is that even though we got the movie, the prices of this book have been correcting a lot faster than they normally do when we are on the other side of films or TV shows or properties, or, you know, however the comic market usually reacts to situations like this. And one of the reasons for that is that I think that people just really didn't connect with this Morbius film, which could mean that there were more people looking to sell their ASM 101. And that could be one of the reasons why the prices have been going down, because there was an influx of supply and the demand hasn't been able to keep up due to the fact that maybe the movie hurt the brand of the character. But it is still a classic book. It is still an amazing cover. It's still, you know, the first appearance of a great sort of Spider-Man character in Morbius. And I really do think that Jared Leto's character of Morbius is probably going to hang around for quite some time. I mean, maybe we're going to get, you know, some crossover event between Marvel once again. Doesn't seem like Sony wants to let go of their Spider-Man universe. So it feels like they will definitely reutilize Jared Leto Morbius as much as they can. You know, I could definitely see them doing a team-up movie with him and Tom Hardy having Morbius and Venom together. But as we dig into the numbers for this one, we'll take a look here. There's a couple interesting sales that we can take a look at. Here at the 9.8 grade, there's only 37 on the census, fair market value around the $25,000 range, but there hasn't been a sale, you know, at least in this calendar year. So let's go down here to the 9.2 because we can kind of get a better sense of where the numbers are correcting. You can see here 185 on the census, fair market value suggests 2,900, 30-day moving only 1943. 1 year ago, this book was going around the $3,000 range. So it definitely has had kind of a 33% correction in its numbers overall. This is pretty consistent along the grade levels here. Here at the 8.0, fair market value is 1,450 now, 30-day moving 1,500, but 1 year was actually 1,600. So, and 90-day, it was actually 1,700. You can see this book kind of, you know, a little bit volatile in what it's been doing with its prices. And then down here at the bottom, you know, Go Collect has, you know, the fair market value at the 1.0 range around the 200 or the 2.0 around the 300. But I think, you know, if you go into eBay looking for this book, even in the raw form, you're going to be hard pressed to find it being sold for less than that $300 to $350 price point. All right, let's go on now to the next hottest comic of the week. And the next hottest comic of the week is one that I'm sure you guys have been well aware of, especially coming off the heels of the news in the market. But this one is Nova number 1, up 38 spots, now sitting in the number 2 spot, the second most bought and sold book out there in the market. And what is the significance of this? Well, this, of course, is the first appearance of Richard Rider Nova, a book that came out in 1976, written by Marv Wolfman. Now, we've talked about Nova here on the channel a few times, and one of the reasons why this book has sort of like hit the spotlight recently is due to the fact that there was an announcement that one of the writers of Moon Knight is going to be spearheading like the next Nova property in the MCU, whether that's a movie or a TV show, still very unclear. And actually, whether that's Sam Alexander or Richard Rider, we actually don't know. But, you know, Kevin Feige in the past has said that we're probably going to get both of them in some way, shape, or form. So when that news came out, this book has absolutely blown up in the market. Nova number 1 is now, as you guys can see, the second most sold comic in all of the comic book collecting space. And this is one of those classic Bronze Age books that has finally gotten its just due. I mean, Nova is a character who, you know, I wouldn't put him, you know, in the A tier, but I would definitely put him in the B tier. You know, a character that can every now and again have a mini series written about him, or maybe can have like a small, you know, event crossover revolve around him like they did with Annihilation. A character that is definitely loved by comic book collectors, and one that I think can really be a nice little bridge between, you know, the Earth side of things and the space side of things. And as we dig into the numbers for this one, we'll take a look here at the 9.8 level, 508 on the census. Fair market value suggests the $2,500 range, 30-day moving around $2,634. But we do know that there was actually a record sale at the $3,000 price point, 9.6 fair market value, 30-day moving around $744, 344. Then we go down the grades here, 429, 342, 320. So definitely in the near mint area, you're looking to spend around the $300 price point. And then down here at the bottom, Bronze Age books, not always slabbed here at the low grade, especially once they came out in 1976. But, when you go into eBay looking for this book, you can still find raw copies sitting around that $100 to $125 range or so. All right, let's go on now to the third hottest comic of the week. And the third hottest comic of the week is, you guessed it, X-Men Volume 2, number 1, up 48 spots, now sitting in the 7th slot. I'm not really going to talk about this book. I'm done talking about this book. I think one of the reasons why it is still hot today is because of the fact that we're leading into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I think people are excited about the potential of Magneto. This is a classic book. Everyone's going to buy this thing. But Matt does point out in the article that, this book right here with cover D of Magneto really is leaving the other ones behind. Like, one of the reasons why this book, yo-yos between hottest comics and coldest comics is because the Magneto covers sell a lot, but then the other covers with Colossus and, Rogue and all those characters really, don't sell a lot. So it's kind of like this polarizing thing where we're really starting to see the Magneto cover jump ahead in the races of X-Men number 1s. But let's get off this book for a second. Let's talk about a couple bonus books here that I thought were interesting. This is the trending list as it is right now. A couple books I wanted to point out that relate to some of the other ones we're going to be talking about is Marvel Premiere 28, a book that is now new to the list in the 87th slot, and that's the first appearance of the Legion of Monsters. And then this one right here, Marvel .1, number 1, is also new to the list, sitting in the 57th slot. This one, of course, is the first appearance of Sam Alexander Nova. So a book that, wasn't on the list before. We got the Nova news. Nova number 1 is now the second most selling book. Now this book right here, first appearance of Sam Alexander Nova, is now new on the list. So that's very, very exciting news. And then of course, there's been a lot of excitement about, Moon Knight and everything going on with what the MCU is building with the monster universe and the potential of characters like Morbius and Werewolf by Night and characters like that coming to the MCU. And this book right here was a book that was hot for quite some time, but definitely kind of fell out of favor and now is creeping back onto the list. So people are remembering, hey, maybe we're building to the Legion of Monsters in some kind of way. So a book that is now starting to trend once again. Of course, if you wanted to pick up a raw copy of Marvel Premiere 28, you're looking to spend around the $150 to $160 range or so, depending on the deal you can get for yourself. And then the Marvel .1 number 1 book, raw copies going around that $55 to $65 range or so on eBay. All right, well, let's pick up now on the second hottest comic of the week. And the second hottest comic of the week is one that has been probably the hottest comic of all comics out there in the market. And this one, of course, is Thor number 1, up 56 spots, now sitting in the 41st slot. And what is the significance of this? Well, of course, you guys know this would be the first cover appearance and second cameo appearance of Jane Foster Thor, a book written by Jason Aaron that came out in 2014. Now, we, of course, recently got the Thor Love and Thunder teaser trailer. I'm sure you guys saw it. And at the end of the trailer, we finally got the reveal of Natalie Portman, aka Jane Foster, playing Thor. She was wielding Mjolnir, and the comic book market absolutely went crazy for this book. Earlier in the week, I made a video about this book going off the charts, and I kind of did a little market report on this. So it doesn't surprise me that this is one of the books that is now on the hottest comics chart. Of course, there were a lot of volume of sales for this thing. Everybody was gravitating to this thing, and I kind of, was cheekily making fun of the comic market for all of us, falling into those FOMO traps. But all jokes aside, this still is a great book if you are a fan of this character. I'm actually someone who kind of thinks that Jane Foster Thor is not necessarily going to be a one-shot in the MCU. I actually do have a feeling that this is going to be a character that, maybe they're not going to have a whole, series of movies revolving around Natalie Portman, but I do think that she's going to be a character that they will bring back to, those event films when they do Secret Wars and things like that. I do think that her star power brings a certain amount of audience into the theaters, and I think Marvel is going to want to utilize that when they can in the future. So I do think that this book has legs somewhere down the line. But as we dig into the numbers, let's take a look at them together here. 9.8 fair market value suggests around the $280 range, 2,611 on the census. 30-day moving is around 313, however, and we definitely got some record sales selling around that $350 price point. I mean, I think if we go here and just scroll through, we can definitely see, yeah, here's one right here for $349. $349, a couple 300s, some more 300s of $325, some slash prices. Here's one that actually went for $390. So definitely a book that is not only set a whole volume of sales here in the market to show up on the Go Collect list, but also one that is setting all new record highs. All right, well, let's go on now to the hottest comic of the week. And the hottest comic of the week is a very, very cool one. This one here is Ghost Rider number 28, up 56 spots, now sitting in the 23rd slot. And what is the significance of this? Well, this, of course, is the first cameo appearance of the Midnight Suns, also the first cameo appearance of the character Lilith, a book written by Howard Mackey that came out in 1992. And you guys know the Midnight Suns have been one of the big rumors in comic books for quite some time now. I mean, there was a lot of speculation that, Marvel is sort of building the Midnight Suns team to eventually show up. We're looking at characters like Blade, Black Knight, maybe Ghost Rider, maybe Moon Knight. So this is one of those books that has been hot in the market for quite some time. But I think with Moon Knight, a lot of people are really starting to feel like maybe they're once again planting the seeds for this team to come. And a lot of people are talking about this book. This was, of course, one that was really hot last year when the initial rumors came out. And the video game also came out with the Midnight Suns in it. But the book definitely cooled off, and now it's starting to heat up again. A lot of people thinking that Ghost Rider might show up in Multiverse of Madness. So all the pieces are being set for this Midnight Suns team. Now, it is really interesting that this seems to be the book that people gravitate to. I do think it is due to the fact that it says Rise of the Midnight Suns right there on the top of the cover. But it's not that we don't get the actual Midnight Suns until issue number 34, I believe, where it's the first full appearance of the team. And I can't really blame him because this is a great Copper Age cover. And as we dig into the numbers for this one, we'll take a look here. 9.8s have 743 on the census. Fair market value suggests around the $170 range. 30-day moving right in line to that, 178. 1 year, however, is 241. So definitely a book that you can see here just from the charts had its big peaks last kind of at the end of the year last year, where there was a lot of rumors about the Midnight Suns, but those things kind of corrected here. I bet a lot of people sent in their books to get graded, and now there's a lot of copies sort of coming back, and that's kind of one of the reasons why the supply is outpacing the demand with this book here. But it does feel like maybe if you're someone who is a fan of the Midnight Suns and wants to get in on this book, this could be a good time to buy it right now because the prices have corrected so much. Of course, I'm not going to show you the ones at the bottom because Go Collect is not really going to have too many slab copies because it's a Copper Age book. But when you go onto eBay looking for this thing, if you're looking for nice copies of it, you're probably going to have to spend around the $25 to $30 range or so. Maybe there's some copies sitting around the 15 to 20, but those are usually going to be, VG ones or beat up ones or ones that have a bunch of color breaks on them. But, not a bad way to get the book if you actually really want it. Anyways, that's all for this video. Those were Go Collect's hottest comics for the week. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have any of these books? Feels like a lot of these books are definitely, correlated to the rumors that are going on right now or the shows that are going on right now. I had my comic book Illuminati panel, and we talked about that, where it felt like the spec market was a lot more focused than what it was, say, last year, where last year everything was firing on all cylinders. Everybody was going for every single spec that there was out there or potential to be out there. And now it feels like, people are just sort of focused on what's in front of them. Okay, we got Multiverse of Madness. We're going to look at that. We got Moon Knight. We're going to look at that. And we got Nova rumors. We're going to look at that. And that's really all that people are focused on. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I will see you in the next video.